quarterback's a heck of a player. I thought our defensive staff did a great job game planning what we needed to do. It was going to be very different than Adrian Martinez. They're two different players with two different skill sets, and what they do offensively is very different. I thought Joe Rossi and his entire staff did a great job of creating a blueprint to really force three into some bad throws and get to them as much as we possibly could, even with just four. And then our players executed that blueprint perfectly. Again, they go out there and play so hard, play for each other. The fourth down's a huge stop again. They just continue to show up and continue to give everything they have for each other. It's a very, very selfless defense, full of a lot of special players who have played a lot and have had a ton of experience. On the offensive side of the ball, I just thought that we talked all week. It was going to have to be dirty. It was going to have to be nasty. It was going to have to be put your hand down in the ground. If we're going to run it 50 times, we're going to have to run it 50 times. Our athletic director, Mark Hoyle, didn't come to practice this week, but he came in my office right before the game and said, hey, this feels like a run-the-ball game. And he was right. So he called it. But, we needed to be able to do that. And we established it. And the second half, those 3-4-yard carries came out, and they ended up being bigger plays. I thought Kenny Burns did a really good job of knowing who had the hot hand on which call, on what carry, what drive. We talked about that a lot, about making sure that we kept the backs in what they do really well. And I thought you all got to see their strengths, especially the young backs tonight. Proud of our offensive line, our tight ends, our wideouts, the blocking they were able to do, the breaking of the tackles, and creating some explosive plays on the ground. Didn't throw it as much as we probably thought we were going to, but we didn't need to. Didn't need to do that. And special teams, we did really good in the kickoff game, and the field goals, we got to make those two. We have to be able to make those two, and we know that. And I've got to coach it up better and find a way to get him to be able to do it. But overall, we talked about, every person had to be able to do their role. We called it ticking. They all had to tick on the clock and just keep ticking and ticking. When that hand came to you, you had to be ready, and that's what this team's done all year. They've responded to the adversity that they've had. We've had 5 backs now over 100 yards this year in 7 games, with 2 of the number 1, number 2 back out for the year. And these guys just continue to answer the bell. They've been humbled. They have confidence. They have a lot of things that make up a really special team, and this is what I mean, how they're fun to coach. We were 1-0 in the Maryland season. Got to give Maryland a lot of credit. Well coached, a really good football team, and we were just the better team tonight on the scoreboard. And we'll learn from this no matter what. We're 1-0 in Maryland, and then we'll move on. So I'm sure you have a lot of questions. Go ahead.
PJ, you guys rushed the ball 23 times to end the game. What does that say just about how dominant you were in that facet?
Yeah, well, we felt like towards the second half that we made some adjustments and some schemes of what they were doing and playing some cover zero and doing things like that, and made some adjustments to some of our schemes, and I thought it worked out really well. We were really good on first and second down. I think the first half we were okay. Second half we were really good on first, second down. When you have a 2nd and 2, that leaves the whole offense open for you. We knew that we were going to have to take the first drive of the second half down to score, and that was going to be incredibly critical, especially with the missed field goal going into halftime. I'm sure you want to talk about that, and I'll explain it perfectly to all of you. If you'd like to be able to walk through that, I'd love that. But we knew we were going to have to do that, and we did it with, I think, 7 minutes off the drive, or off the clock. The time of possession was 37.5 to 22.5. That's what you want to be able to see with a win. Ohio State, we won that too. I think it was 40-20, but they won the game. But that's the kind of game that we want to be in. Our guys feel really comfortable in that game. And I thought, like I said, our O-line did a tremendous job of setting the tone.
Going back to fall camp, you said you felt like your offense and defensive lines were the identity. Was this sort of indicative of that? Felt like this game was won in the trenches.
It was. We knew it was going to have to be won in the trenches. They have a really good secondary. They got their 2 corners back this week. You got athletes all over the place. They do a great job recruiting that D.C. area. They got really good players. And we knew that we were going to have to put our hand in the ground, get dirty, be physical, and this was going to be a physical game. And I thought they answered the bell, especially in the second half. But we knew that going into this year. I think everybody knows that. Everybody talks how big you are. Just because you're big doesn't make you good. These guys, Connor Olson, I think, was today the starts. I think the most starts in the history of Minnesota. Connor Olson now owns that record. If Blaze comes back, he'll challenge him for that. Maybe that's something he wants to do. Maybe not. But we have a very experienced group up front. And we're even experienced behind that. People don't know yet about like a J.J. Gaudet, or a Nathan Bowe. I mean, they all started last year in some games, but those are guys that are the next guys, and they're really talented football players as well. So, we have to continue to get better, but we knew that up front, offensively and defensively, we had something that we could rotate. Now, whether we could stay healthy or not, but we could rotate, and we were playing 8 offensive linemen in one series, or in one personnel grouping at the beginning of the year. We're rotating 8 defensive linemen in. They're playing for each other. They're playing fast. MJ Anderson's a great example. He's Big O's backup, and he gets in there and makes a ton of plays. And his opportunity to really rise to the occasion, even when Big O's still here, because he's going to take over for Big O next year, right? But this is how you create that depth that we keep talking about. And the running back position is a great example of that. Developmental program, high school players, fill it in with some transfers here and there to plug some holes, to provide even more depth. And I think you're starting to see that a little bit more and more take shape in year 5 here.
Coach, have you ever been this comfortable with a running back room with all these young guys stepping up?
Did you say comfortable?
Yeah, comfortable.
Oh, I don't know if I would use the word comfortable yet. I'm confident in their abilities, but when it was Mo and Trey and maybe even you had Rodney and Shannon, I mean that was maybe comfortable at times, but even Mo really hadn't come onto the scene yet, and then he fought through some injuries, and then so I don't. Here's the one thing I learned a long time ago, and I was taught this. Okay, by Greg Schiano. He goes, as a head coach, you're never comfortable, and you should never be comfortable. And if you are comfortable, you're doing it wrong. And that was one of the greatest lessons. I haven't been comfortable since. So I don't think we're looking for comfort. I think we're looking for confidence. We're looking for depth. We talk about the pair, the spare, right, and the air to fill up the spare and the pair when they need it. We're on to the air, right, and good thing we have that. But that goes back to hitting on recruiting, and developing players. So I really like the room. They're a fun group to coach. I think Kenny Burns he's the best running back teacher out there. He does such a great job with those young kids, and they have such a great relationship. And they mature very quickly in his room, and that's a credit to him.
Jack Gibbons was flying all over today. How much has he changed his defense?
Well, he just gives us like a Mariano clone. You get 2 very, very intelligent players, most of the time, smarter players on the field that are football smart are better players. They're instinctive. They can get to a place before the offense can get there. They study tremendously hard. Those guys are always in the facility by themselves, working, doing the unrequired work. And there's 2 things. There's required work that we have to set for them, and then, through the rules, that's it. You only have so many hours. It's the unrequired work that really separates people from champions and everyone else, and in life and in football. And I think Jack Gibbons is one of those guys. I think, when you bring in somebody like that and you bring in a transfer, you always wonder how they're going to conform, how they're going to fit. And it was like he just enjoyed the amoeba, whoop, and we just changed shape. That was all we did, and it was perfect. It was a perfect match. And again, we're all about fit here. Keep saying it, fit, fit, fit. Recruiting should be changed to fit. Just we're going to go out there and fit. It should be, because we're looking for the right fit for us. And, not everybody's for everybody. And, we're the same way. We're no different.
You mentioned the end of the first half. Why not take a shot there with the pass with the 30?
If you think back a few weeks ago, all right, we did that, and we got ourselves out of field goal range. We're getting the ball in the second half, right? We're up 7. If I would have known, Chip, we were going to miss the field goal or get it blocked, I wouldn't have kicked it. But I thought if we make it, we're up 20-10, and we get the ball, right? We've doubled the score, and we were already in field goal range. We had right after we get the first down, we get 8 yards. I call timeout, and right then I knew we're going to play for the field goal. Something could happen. We can get sacked. And again, all these things are going through your head. It's risk versus reward. You get the ball in the second half. That's all I kept thinking. We're getting the ball. We're getting the ball. They're getting the ball. We come away with 3. It's 20-10. We score a touchdown on the first possession. It's 27-10. Fortunately, we don't make the field goal.
If you think the ball, would your thinking been different?
What's that?
If you weren't getting the ball second half, would your thinking have been
Probably. I probably would have been a little more aggressive. But again, as a head coach, you're constantly thinking ahead, right? And that possession opening the half is big. Let's say we throw a ball and it's incomplete and there's 50-some seconds left, right? And let's say it's incomplete and we kick a field goal and we miss and they get the ball, and then that quarterback gets 30, 40 seconds. It goes all the way down the field, right? I've seen it happen on film for them. I wasn't going to put ourselves in that position, especially learning from what we did in the first few games where there were twice we were in field goal range, became out of field goal range. And not only that, either had to punt or gave the ball back to the opponent. Wasn't going to do that. That's exactly why we did what we did. It wasn't just like, oh, that was exactly why. So I'll always tell you why, but those decisions are made by me. If we make the field goal, everybody's not happy, and I'm not sure why we're not happy. We're winning, and we want to take a shot at the end zone, but I don't want to give them the ball back. I don't want to stop the clock. I want to be able to run the clock out, have the last possession to kick a field goal. And next thing you know, you're up 2 possessions already, and you get the possession. So that's why I did what we did. It's not playing it safe. It's not, safe football. It's not just hoping not to lose. That's actually trying to win the game based on percentages, possessions, points. That's what we're working on. Great question.
Does Coach Rossi want that turnover on downs as a turnover?
Of course he does. I mean, he'll take a punt as a turnover on downs. He'll change that, but I'm just so proud of how hard they're playing, and he's spectacular. Coach Rossi and his staff and our defense is just – they're playing so hard. But, this isn't like they just started doing it. I mean, they've all had to go through a lot of failing moments and go through a lot of ups and downs and adverse situations where they had to respond and maybe not see such a positive result. And they just continue to keep the oar in the water, keep rowing the boat, keep all the internal louder than the external.
Fitting that the offensive line was so dominant on our special day, I guess.
I guess you could say that. I mean, it's fitting. I don't know if that was the plan, but, I mean, I just remember that as I stood up here, about counters. So we were not necessarily thinking about that during the day. Now, you're game planning, watching the film, constantly watching the film, watching more film, studying and studying and studying, and saying, what kind of game is it going to be? And there's times you go into a game and you think it's going to be a certain way, and it's not. But we were able to make this the game we wanted it to be, and that gets a credit to all those guys up front, our offensive coaching staff. They deserve all the credit, but it's a player's game, and they got to go out there and do it, and I thought they executed that up to the standard of what we want to be able to do. The only thing I think we didn't do so well is the last possession of leaving that 4th and 1 out there, because that catches up to you when it catches up to you.
One or two more for Coach. Go ahead. In your time as a head coach, where does this D-line room rank? Because you've got guys 1 through 8. It's not just one guy. So where do they rank for you?
I think it's the best. Not afraid to say that. That's no disrespect, okay? Don't say like I disrespected somebody by saying that. I mean, you asked a question. It's 9 years. I've had some really good ones. But I just think the talent, the skill, how connected they are, and the depth of them, that has to be the best. And because that's what you strive for. Now, if you guys come to practice, the young guys behind them are pretty good too, right? And that's what we're keep building. And hopefully as we keep going through the next, maybe during the season, you're going to start to maybe see even some others as we start to get that 4-game window of being able to play some more guys with the redshirt rule. But I'm a little bit more of like, hold on to those. I'm not about playing those early. I'm about holding on to those just in case. Just in case we got to play a guy like Jamison Gears. Just in case we have to play, an Austin Booker. Just in case we have to get to those guys, we have to be able to still keep that red shirt of how critical that is and for their development. And they understand that. We're very transparent in that. But I think if it's not the best, it's one of the best. And that's with all due respect of all the guys I've coached and been around. But again, it goes back to the people that are really developing them too, and our defensive staff and Chad Wilt. I mean, he's fantastic. I mean, you talk about a guy who can truly develop skill, right, and combine it with talent and create a culture inside that D-line room. It's a hard room to coach. That's a lot of personalities, a lot. And he's done a great job of bringing it all together. And again, what does this mean? It means we're 1-0 against Maryland. We were good enough today to be the best team on the field today. That's all that meant.
One more for Coach.
Coach, to kind of rephrase my earlier question.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Took it for what you said.
No, have you ever had talents like Kai Thomas, Bryce Williams, Marquise Irving, just that deep in the depth chart after Trey Potts and Mo Ibrahim in any season as a head coach?
Well, I think you work up to that. You're constantly striving for every position to be that deep. The 85 scholarships, that limits you, right? I mean, that's why everybody's got 85 across the board. And it limits you a little bit, right? And you have to be able to know, and you're not perfect in recruiting. You're going to hit, you're going to miss. Some things are going to fit, some things aren't. You got to be very transparent and very real of what's going on inside your program and know how to be able to adapt to those things. But the running back position is just, it shows where we are recruiting. And if we have to play young players, we're doing everything we can to play young players who can contribute, who are confident enough to contribute. and who want to be a great teammate. And others want them to have success contributing. I think that's the missing piece of this, is that our team trusts them. It's not about them just trying to impress them. Our team is impressed by them. And I think that's when you really kind of connect it all, is when the outside trusts the inside trusts the outside, in terms of the young people throughout the older people. But comparing it to other places, I mean, we were really deep year 4 at Western Michigan. We were really deep. We had a lot of talent, guys that had been there a long time, guys that were, 1-11 as freshmen and then had to work their way up and really learn from those failings, because we define failing as growth and failure as quit, and that's a choice. So, thanks, everybody. Row the boat, Sky Ma, go Gophers. Thanks for being here.
Ran the ball 23 times in the game. What does that say just about your guys' determination to do that?
Yeah, it's just a credit to the entire unit, honestly, out there, just being able to go out there and finish the game in that fashion. Our running backs definitely instill a lot of confidence in the run game. And, pleasure, when you got Keeft here on the edge, you always know that you feel pretty good out there. So, yeah, it was a good way to end the game. From an offensive lineman standpoint, I always prefer running it rather than passing it. No offense to Tanner.
None taken, man. It's fine with me.
What did today mean to you?
Yeah, it was just another game. Got a handful more, so I'm. It's cool to get that record, but hopefully I break that record again next week. So, in that regard, I'm not going to get too focused on that just yet. I got to worry about the next game rather than that. It's more so about the team than just an individual record.
On that first play, were you maybe taking a little bit of a moment because it wasn't maybe your best play of the day?
Yeah, I fell. It's a beautiful thing. You can look back, and I feel like I fall most first plays. I like to play like a kid, as they say. So sometimes that's on the ground. Being an athlete, as they say, where I kind of forgot to do it on that one.
The third quarter on those 2 opening drives, was that the best you've seen your running game going that way?
Yeah, it was a big focus for us as an offense. Come out of the halftime break fast, accelerate in the middle of the game, and I think offensively we did that. Credit to the O-line and really credit to those young running backs who all three, Bryce, Kai, Bucky, really like running as hard as they can. And so it's a credit to them, it's a credit to us, trying to improve upon that coming out of halftime.
Tanner, you guys have used a lot of motion in the green zone recently. You used orbit motion today. How much do you think that's helped you guys down in that area?
Yeah, I think it helps a lot just to be able to identify what's going on and motion with all kinds of different guys, receivers, tight ends. It's just a very creative way to get looks that you want that are advantageous for our offense. So again, it's awesome to see, and it's a kudos to our offensive staff being able to do that to get us in advantageous positions to be able to run the ball and to throw the ball as well.
Tanner, you got the best angle of anybody to kind of sum up how the offensive line
That's right.
today. I mean, just it's tough to rank, how they did, but I mean, statistically anyway, almost a perfect game for an offensive line.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had the best seat in the house. It was very dominant. I mean, just seeing those guys being able to execute every single play, not only their assignments, but just with extreme how, an understanding of what they have to do. It was phenomenal to see. I mean, I'm excited to go watch the tape to just see how physical and how dominant it was, and just how they played with that necktie mentality. But I'm really excited to watch the film. But yeah, they did a phenomenal job, and again, they made it go today. It all starts up front, and those guys really made it go today.
Connor Axel Rushmeyer's been pretty involved in the heavy packages. How much value has he provided coming in and playing that role for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, Axel's a great guy, and he's a guy that fills that role to the absolute max of his ability, and I certainly appreciate when we have him out there. Axel's the definition of a road grader, and he's out there, and he's always going to put his best foot forward. So anytime we get him on the field, I always get a little excited just getting ready to watch the film. I mean, we saw last week, that final touchdown run, you see him putting a guy on the ground about 8 yards down the field. So, there's a lot of confidence when we put him in the game that we know he's going to go out there and perform well for us.
Oh, that 20-yard catch, did you have to little twinkle toes on the sidelines there?
Yeah, I guess so. Didn't realize how close I was to the sideline, but it was a great play call by Mike. The coach staff drawing that up, and it was a good throw by Tanner, so it was nice.
You guys have played a lot of football. What does it say to have two freshmen that have played very little come in and step up the way that Bucky and Kai have done?
I think it just shows the credit that Mo Ibrahim, Trey Potts, and Kenny Burns, what they do in that room, how they lead those guys. They're playing at a really elite level. I don't have a doubt in my mind that any three of them are going to go in and they're going to give their best effort. So it's a credit to Coach Burns and Mo and all those guys.
Connor, do you sense that you guys were wearing out the Maryland defense in the second half? Were they getting fatigued?
I don't necessarily know about fatigue, but a big philosophy on our offense is body blows. So around the third quarter is when we like to see there is going to be a little bit more give there on the line as we're continuing to lean on them. And so I think that's what we did. We executed our game plan how we wanted to execute it, and everything was kind of going our way there at that point.
Connor, as someone who plays alongside John Michael Schmitz, what do you think makes him such a big challenge for defensive tackles?
Well, he's about 5'6", so he's got great leverage. John Michael plays with tremendous amount of how, and I mean, he's a violent offensive lineman, and that's hard to find, these days. But I mean, yeah, John goes out there and he plays with that, unbridled violence that we like to talk about in the offensive line room. And every single play out there, it's always a pleasure. I always like to look up at the big screen, and I'll always kind of give him crap if he doesn't get a knockdown on a play, because he always takes it a little soft.
Tanner, does it feel like a turnover when you guys get a stop on defense and get a short field?
Yeah, I mean, it makes a huge difference. And obviously we don't believe in momentum, but for us, you have to be able to capitalize when you get those short fields to make the most of it. And it makes a huge difference, obviously, with the stop on fourth down, being able to go in and execute and put one in the end zone. It makes a huge difference for us. But at the end of the day, when that happens, it's really just capitalizing and taking advantage of the opportunities you get in a game. When your defense does a phenomenal job and gives you a short field like that, you got to come away with points. It's part of 78%. You got to find a way to come away with points, and preferably 7 points. So that's just kind of our identity when we get opportunities like that, is just to go find a way to get points.
Tanner, the offense was really efficient on first down today. How much do you think that opens up the offense as we move down in the later
Yeah,
games?
getting ahead of the chains makes a huge difference. Being able to, have more opportunities in second and third down. You get in third and manageable. It makes things a lot easier instead of when you get in, 7, 8, 9, 10. The percentages of getting the first down go way down. I'm sure as you know, the percentages are completely different when you look at 7 to 10 compared to, first and third and 1 to 6. So being able to get in third and manageable makes a huge difference, and being successful on first and second down is the best way to be successful on third down. So for us, that's just an opportunity we look at as find a way to be successful on first and second down, and then it sets us up to have advantageous third down opportunities.
Is that 1 or 2 more for these guys? Cole, as an outsider, how would you describe the personality of the offensive line?
I would just say gritty. Every single one of them. You got Connor, Sam, Schmitz, Daniel, Blaze, Axel. Throw Axel in there. All those guys are just grinders. Have been since I've been here. The 6 years I've been here. And it's every day. It's constant. So just the consistency of those guys and how they played today is just gritty. And they're just a tough group.
Cole, what's on the tailgate menu?
I actually have no idea. Assume probably some steak and stuff, but no idea what they got cooking over there. So we'll find out here in a little bit.
Everyone all set? All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
What did you feel like was key in containing Tagovailoa today?
Yeah, it's kind of what we talked about last week with just the guys up front hunting together, just keeping them in the pocket, staying in their rush lanes, and then guys on the back end covering, giving them time to get home. He's really, really dangerous when he gets out of the pocket, especially throwing the ball downfield. And I think just as a whole team, we worked really well together to contain that today.
Niles, it seems like the defense is really in sync at all 3 levels. How connected is this group right now?
I feel like we're very connected. I feel like we talk about all week and work on it. And I feel like it's more than off the field, as we have great chemistry together. We love each other, love playing with each other. We play for each other, honestly, and I feel like that's a big reason that makes us keep us in sync, because we know we all count on each other to make plays.
Jack, I know you weren't on this defense last year, but of the guys that were returning, was there a sense of, after what happened in College Park last year with all the yards and all the points, that there was some extra motivation for those guys today?
Yeah, definitely. I think for the staff, the team, everybody in general, just kind of last year left a bad taste in the mouth, and we just kind of wanted to come and change the narrative on that for sure.
Jack, Coach Fleck was talking about you and Mariano spending a lot of time watching film together. What are some of the things that you guys look for during those sessions?
Just like any sort of tips or tendencies that we can see that offenses have that are showing, and really just kind of talking through, like putting ourselves in calls, playing, and then playing the film and kind of talking through what we need to be looking for, where we would be, potential things that they might try to do to hurt us and stuff like that. So just kind of make sure that we're prepared when it comes game time.
Coach Rossi says that a turnover on downs is a turnover, and Coach Fleck says, well, not technically, because it's not a turnover, or not a fumble or an interception. Where do you guys come down on that debate?
Well, I say just stops like those are very big, just especially in a game like this, especially like a talented team and a quarterback that can make plays like that. I will take anything as a stop. A turnover down, we'll take that as a turnover. Nothing against Coach Fleck, but defensively, we'll take that and add it to the stat book as a turnover.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. We get the ball with good field position either way. So, and if teams want to take shot at 4 downs to get however many downs we got to play to get off the field, that's what we're going to play. And I agree. I think those are turnovers.
Niles, what did you see on that opening series turnover you guys got, and what did that do to kind of set the tone for the defense for the day?
At first, felt like a little shaky. I felt we started off there making some plays because they're very talented offense as well. But I feel like getting that stop, forcing that turnover really just helped us kind of slow everything down and just kind of relax. Because I feel like, you start the drive off, everybody's turned up, ready to play and go out there and get it. And I feel like that turnover really gave us a chance to really settle in and set the tone for the rest of the game.
Boye said that the D-line room is kind of like a reality show. What kind of personality would you be on that show, and where would the cameras be most in that room?
I agree with him. I think definitely saw a lot of different personalities throughout camp, and just over the off season, I feel like we had a lot of guys, a bunch of different guys, funny, like talk, just like enjoy being around each other, laugh with each other. I feel like that's a big thing, and I feel like my role in there is just kind of be the old head, kind of just sit back and watch and laugh, and kind of get my little 2 cents of wiseness and stuff like that. And sometimes I'll crack a joke here and there, but mostly I just like to watch and laugh. That's the kind of guy I am. And the cameras would definitely mostly, I feel like it would be on everybody, but definitely I feel like it would either be on Rashad Cheney or Trill Carter.
Why Trill?
Trill's just he's like I said before, he's a kid. He just likes to have fun and laugh and stuff like that. He just and I feel like that's really his personality, honestly. Just like he wants to just make everybody else better as well. And I just feel like he's just a big kid. And I feel like sometimes it's just funny to see that.
Niles, it says he has really flashed in recent weeks. What do you think has fueled the success for Big O?
I think I've seen O since my short time here, being here since January. Seeing O, he's a great worker, and I feel like that's just a testament to just seeing his results right now. Because over the offseason, he works hard. He's a grinder, and I feel like that's one thing. Sometimes he just really wants to push. He just wants to go the extra step, and I feel like it's really shown these last few weeks. I'm really happy for him, especially everything he dedicates to his team, and how much he gives, and how much he really cares. It's just good to see certain things, see stuff like that, because I'm really happy for him, especially how much me and him talk about over the offseason, how much like our goals for this season, and I feel like just seeing things like this happen for him and as us as a whole is just really good to see.
You guys have won 3 straight, go on the road against a Northwestern team that has struggled this year. How do you fight complacency?
Just continue to change our best. Just continue to move the standard up. What we did today is no longer good enough. What we do tomorrow won't be good enough the next day. Just continuing to continue to battle and just continue to be better each and every day. I mean, it doesn't matter what's happened in the past. It doesn't guarantee anything. They've got a great program over there. I'm sure that they're working hard just as like we are to be the best they can be, and they've been a great team in the past, and so we just definitely got to continue to prepare and continue to be the best we can be.
I feel like this is big, like in our culture, Coach Fleck has really preached. You have to be humble enough to know that anybody can beat you, and you have to be confident knowing that you can beat anyone. I feel like that's a real testament of what Coach Fleck says. Also, just changing our best, and I feel like that's really going to be the difference for us working. It's a one-game season every week. You just focus on that one game you have that week. Don't look forward to anything. Don't embrace our past to make our future, like Coach Fleck tells us. So I feel like, honestly, just treat every like a championship game every week is to us.
You guys have played elsewhere. Was it difficult to throw the fists in the air? Was it difficult to kind of have that be kind of the way that you guys are and the way that it's done here?
I feel like at first I was kind of questioning, because when I was watching film with Coach Wilt when I first got here, and every time he was third down, I kept seeing the fist going up, and I was kind of confused, like why are we doing that? And he explained it to me. It's mostly a thing just to help all of us, like a thing of unity, also a situational awareness, knowing that okay, it's third, we just got to stop with third down, going to fourth, and just kind of it's just really like help the situation awareness and a sign of unity, and all of us just being in sync, honestly.
Yeah, it was kind of tough at first to remember to do it, and now to the point where I do it like after every play, basically at practice, just so that way cover all my bases. They always get mad at me because it'll be like second down, and I'll put my fists up just because, just got to make sure that's always ready.
Jack, when the defensive tackles are getting off of blocks and taking on players, how much does that change things for you and the linebackers?
Yeah, it's like we keep saying every week, we're talking about how great these guys are playing up front, and they are. They're definitely holding the point. They're making plays, and it really frees us up to run and just get over the top, run and try to make plays, because these guys are holding the point really well, and guys can't really get to the second level, because if they do, they're making TFL. So yeah, it's a blast playing behind these guys, and they're really playing hard.
Everyone all set?
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.